What's up guys? Today on Robbie's Reviews, I am in the 2020 Genesis G90 Ultimate. I just want to thank my friend Sonny from Rick Case Hyundai in Plantation, Florida for allowing me to take out the 2020 G90 today to see what it's like to drive and to give it a review. Let's go check it out. Alright guys, here she is, the 2020 Genesis G90. This is the Ultimate trim, and it basically is fully loaded with all of the available technology, creature comforts, and luxury amenities from Genesis USA. This vehicle was introduced to the US market in 2017. And while I haven't reviewed the 2017, 18, or 19 model year of this car, I can assure you that this 2020 model year is a complete new design on the inside and out. Starting off here with the silhouette of the vehicle, you can see that it is a full-size luxury car. Definitely long wheelbase, and yes, it is meant to compete with the likes of the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the Lexus LS500, the Jaguar XJL, the Audi A8L, and the BMW 7 Series. Now, this vehicle, fully loaded, this is actually a fully loaded example, it's the Ultimate rear-wheel drive. I think there's an all-wheel drive variant. However, this being the rear-wheel drive one, we actually have the window sticker over here. It's a nice point of reference. This vehicle is just over $75,000, $76,725 after shipping and all that. The actual sticker is about $75,000, and you can see this is the rear-wheel drive 5.0, being it has the 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, the Ultimate trim here. And you can see it has all these advanced safety technology, the standard features, powertrain. It's 420 horsepower V8, 8-speed automatic transmission, intelligent drive modes, adaptive control suspension with electronic damping control. I don't know if that means it's air suspension or if it's struts or not, but so we have the full LED headlights with LED accents, LED daytime running lights, full Napa leather interior, microfiber suede headliner. And as far as additional features, it looks like really isn't any. The Ultimate trim just comes with all this stuff standard. There's really no extra options. I guess it just goes by trim level. Unlike Mercedes, BMW, and Audi, where you can get a specific trim or engine and then add a lot of options to that would come on higher trim cars. Added features is dark finish rim, replaces standard dish rim, $0. Looks like the darker wheels are a $0 cost option. Pretty cool. And it looks like this vehicle has a couple dealer installed accessories, bringing the total to $78,720. Now, I've only driven this vehicle a couple miles just to get to this park here to film. However, I can safely say that it is one of the most comfortable and smooth cars I've ever driven. As many of you know, I own a S-Class. I daily drive it. It's very comfortable, and it's a great point of reference when comparing it to other cars like this. I have also driven the 2020 A8L, the new Jaguar XJL, the 7 Series, both the Alpina B7 and the 2020 750i. And this is right up there in terms of comfort. So this fully loaded example of the Genesis G90 is about $20,000 less than a totally base S-Class. S-Classes start around $95,000 for the 6-cylinder model, and the V8 starts at around $99,000. And while they do come with a lot of standard features, and you do have to give them credit, they do have a lot to offer if you're just buying a base car. However, most dealerships get in kind of mid-level to high-level cars, which are around $120,000 to $160,000. So the fact that the Genesis G90 entered this space with basically the same technology that all the other German rivals come with, and it's several $1,000s less than a base model of those German competitors, it actually speaks for itself, and it's pretty amazing. So here at the front now, we're going to start off with these very, very distinctive LED headlights. You can see there's a quad LED projector design here, and you may have noticed the turn signal in the middle here continues all the way, wraps around the headlight, continues, and this is similar to when I reviewed the Kia Stinger GT. Instead of being in the back, it's in the front here in the headlight. The side marker turn signal continues out of the headlight housing and into the bumper, but it doesn't just stop there. If you continue over here to the front fender, you get a nice vent here, but you also get about a foot of turn signal. So I'm going to turn that on in a second with the headlights. You guys can check them out. That's one thing this car has, is very distinctive lighting. When you're using your turn signals in this car, everybody on the road is going to know. I mean, there's just more turn signal real estate on this car than most other cars come with. A lot of cars try to make their turn signals and running lights as small as possible. That wasn't the case with this car. Just like with the size of the car, bigger is better. So you have the wheels here, which are the zero cost option for the darker chrome effect. They're actually 19s. They look way bigger than that. And it's funny because they're on such a huge car, but it must be just the design there with the multi-spokes. And coming back to the front of the car, you have that huge corporate face, the kind of cross-hatched grille design with the kind of black chrome here, similar to on the Kia Stinger GT. And I know I keep seeing Kia, this is a Hyundai or a Genesis, but Genesis or Hyundai actually has a stake in Kia when they were facing financial trouble. So that's why you're going to see a lot of the same design elements and features and technology inside the Genesis G90. So here you have this front camera, which is part of the G90's 360-degree camera system, which every modern luxury car should have. I mean, honestly, standard at this point. And actually, again, similar to the Kia Stinger GT, you have the sensor for the adaptive cruise control here. They've really cleverly hidden kind of in the grille. And they have that same effect here for the radar sensor. Some car companies like Mercedes-Benz and Audi and BMW, they do a little bit of a better job hiding their radar sensors. However, since Genesis doesn't have their badge or emblem on the grille, this is really the best they could do. And continuing around the front here, of course, you have the front parking sensors. This car has front and rear parking sensors. Coming down the side, you have those huge turn signals. And again, you have some cameras here in the mirror. It's part of the 360-degree camera system. And then in the mirror here, you have the blind spot monitor. Now, unlike a lot of cars, there's more to the G90's blind spot monitoring system than just this little indicator here, which we'll get to in a bit when we go inside the car. Of course, you have keyless entry on all four doors. So with the key in your pocket, it's a nice key. It says Genesis. Has pretty much standard stuff: lock, unlock, hold for the trunk, and then the panic button. No remote start, but with the key in your pocket, you can press this button and the car locks, mirrors fold in. So with the key in your pocket, put your hand behind here, touch the sensor, mirrors unfold, and then you can open the door. You can see that amazing Napa leather brown interior with all the open pore brown wood to contrast nicely with all the brown piping here to go against the darker brown leather on the door. It's a really nice interior that we're going to get to check out in just a few moments. And of course, it wouldn't be a full-size luxury car if it didn't have soft closed doors. So you can see they pull themselves in. And coming around to the back, similar to the headlights in the front of the car, the rear of the Genesis G90 has very distinctive taillights. And we'll turn those on in a second so you guys can check them out. But on the 2020 G90, Genesis has done what a lot of other car companies are doing with these full-length LED light bars. It's just kind of a luxurious look to the car and really just more lighting real estate. It's kind of a strange place to put the trunk opener. And a lot of cars is kind of under the overhang here, right above the license plate. But if we push that, the trunk of the G90 very, very slowly goes open. And you can see it's a very large trunk. You have all the manuals and stuff here. And as you can see, it's a carpeted trunk, just like most vehicles have. However, in this plastic bag here, being it's a brand new car, everything's still wrapped up. You have another carpet here for added luxury. And you can see part of the Alcantara headliner or the trunk shelf here. And of course, I'm not sure if there's a kick function to close like Mercedes. Let's give it a try. Nope, doesn't look like there is. So you have two options to close the trunk of the G90. You can either use the key fob in your pocket, or you have these buttons here. This one will just close the trunk. This one will actually lock the vehicle as long as it's off. So we'll just do lock here. Being that the car is already locked, the mirrors are already folded in. The trunk goes down slowly, soft close. And you get a brief look at those amber turn signals in the rear, which we'll turn on in a second with the hazard lights. And of course you have the rear camera here for the 360-degree camera system. And again, kind of a strange place to put the rear camera. A lot of cars have it, once again, above the license plate or just hidden somewhere in a little housing. But nonetheless, you have some very nice dual exhaust tips here, or kind of exhaust surrounds. The real exhausts are kind of way in there. You have the parking sensors, G90 badging, Genesis badging here, and 5.0 indicating the 5-liter V8 under the hood, which we'll also get a look at in just a second. So being that this is the ultimate or highest trim level of the G90 and it has the regular sunroof here, it doesn't appear that there is a panoramic roof option. I'm not sure if it's the way that the roof kind of slopes down here. The S-Class has more of a longer, flatter roof to a point. So maybe that's just something they couldn't work into the design and wanted to keep costs down on the car. So right now, we're gonna get a look at that 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. So here we are, 5-liter, 420 horsepower V8 that powers the 2020 Genesis G90. Now you can see here they have some pretty cool kind of stabilizer bars, strut bars here. This interesting red accenting around the dual intakes. Of course, it says V8 with a faux carbon fiber effect, the Genesis logo. Now this engine being naturally aspirated, like a lot of modern luxury cars that are turbocharged, supercharged, or even both, they require a lot of extra plumbing and cooling and piping and everything. But since that's not the case with this G90, the engine's actually sat pretty far back, basically over or just behind the front axle, so weight distribution is pretty good. And like I was saying, driving over here, this car is very smooth. It handles really well for what it is. It's not a light car, it is a full-size car. And honestly, they did a good job in the handling department. So the weight distribution is really kind of down low. The engine sits a little bit lower than a lot of other cars. You have the intakes here. These strut bars definitely help. And aside from that, there's really not much else to look at under here. So we're gonna close the hood now. Step inside the car and turn on the headlights and taillights as well as the hazard lights. So as with most cars, we're gonna have to turn on the ignition. We have the hazard lights here, headlight controls. And you can see, just like in the Kia Stinger GT, it'll show you what exactly is on. So running lights, auto, off, and then on. You probably heard that long beep. Let the car let you know that it is on with the ignition and the key fob is outside the car. One really interesting thing that I've noticed about the G90 is, unlike really most cars on the market today, there is no turn signal or indicator in the mirror here. Usually if you're behind somebody or if they're just to the left of you or the right of you and you put your signal on, you can see kind of the indicator here. However, I guess Genesis thought that since they have such a big turn signal here, you'd kind of see it from an angle. And that actually might be the case, considering you have the turn signal on the edge of the bumper, which kind of wraps around, giving it another view. And actually, if I'm in a car and I'm right about here, I can definitely see that a little bit better than the actual mirror indicator would be, even being kind of next to the car. The same goes for the taillights here. Usually the turn signals don't even wrap around. This much is kind of like a side marker. However, with the amber turn signals on the G90, which, if you know me, I love my amber turn signals, it wraps around here with that kind of body color trim going through the taillight. And then you have that full length LED light bar. So the brake lights are actually pretty small. They're kind of up here. They don't really continue into the trunk lid, but the turn signals start into the trunk lid here, go all the way around. And they're really very bright. Just really an opulent looking rear end for a car. One of the toughest things when designing a luxury car is deciding what the rear end will look like, and of course the front end, but the rear end is what a lot of people are going to see when they're coming up on the road behind you. And either they're going to know what it is right away or they're not going to know, but either way, the rear end design is very important. So coming around the other side, you have those huge turn signals. They're definitely about a foot long. Continuing over to the headlights. As you can see, they're very, very bright. It's a really cool design. I really love these kind of rectangular LED projectors that a lot of car companies are using these days. Kind of reminds me of the new Ram 1500 and 2500. If you get the trim level that has the option, you get headlights that look a lot like this. So the very bright quad LED projectors, and they swivel and go up and down and everything. And once again, I was talking about opulence. The front end definitely makes you think of a luxury car when you see it coming down the road. The grille is very prominent. It's very imposing. And you have those headlights, which of course turn into the daytime running lights. And I'll turn off in a second so you guys can see them. But just love all the little details inside the sides of the projectors here. You have the side markers, how the turn signal just like comes out of the headlight. Really is a cool design. And you have this kind of geometric etching or pattern in the top and bottom of the headlight. I'm not sure if you guys can see that or make that out. It's really cool. So right now we're going to step inside the G90 and check out the interior. Going to turn off the hazard lights, put the headlights back to auto. So right now we're sitting inside the 2020 Genesis G90 Ultimate. And as you can see, it is a very nicely appointed interior. This being the highest trim level offered in the G90. We have this full Napa leather brown interior. Starting with the door panels here, you have the darker brown leather with the lighter brown piping, the brown open pore wood, this kind of brushed aluminum silver trim going into this very nice aluminum door handle. And then of course you have your memory seat buttons here. You have 1 and 2, and there's actually a feature I've never seen before in a vehicle with memory seats. It actually says smart. So if we press the smart button over here on the infotainment display, which is actually touchscreen, you can see that, it says smart posture care. Enter driver's information. It recommends a posture that fits the driver's body type and provides clinical analysis for a healthy back. So you can choose your height, your pants inseam length, and your weight. And once you choose all that, the car will actually decide what setting or position it thinks is best for your body type. That's something I haven't seen in any of the other luxury cars, and it's just basically new technology that just hasn't been done before in another car, at least that I know of. And just kind of a cool little feature or Easter egg in this car, I guess. So for now, we just have it set to our setting, which is 1. And you can see driver 1 settings applied. And at first glance, getting inside the G90, it might look like the infotainment screen is not touchscreen. However, it is, and it's very responsive. You can have the home button there. You have all your kind of tabs. You have navigation, Sirius XM, and I think you can swipe. And yeah, you have your map, navigation menu, radio, media, HD data, climate control, voice memos, web manual. And we'll get back to the voice memo thing in a minute, but you have your setup here. You have your vehicle settings here. You can configure your heads-up display. Driver assistance settings. Let's see what we got here. SCC reaction. Adjust the responsiveness of smart cruise control to the acceleration of leading vehicle. Driving assist. Leading vehicle departure. Alert. Lane following assist. Highway driving assist. Highway auto curve slowdown. Warning times. You can change the haptic warning and all that. Pretty cool. If we go back to setup. Vehicle. Drive mode, you can kind of customize that. You can have your custom drive mode. Active sound design, not sure what that is. Selects an engine sound mode when the sport mode is selected. We'll try enhanced. I don't know if it'll do anything here if we just rev it real quick. Maybe if we do off. I think it has to be in one of the drive modes. We have the drive mode selector here. Have it in sport. I think that's just when we're driving. So we'll put it on enhanced for now and see what it sounds like later. Drive mode change alert, detailed alert, lateral seat support. Increases lateral seat bolster support when sport mode is selected. So actually when I put it into sport mode, I noticed that the bolsters kind of hugged me a little bit. It's kind of a less advanced version of the active bolstering inside Mercedes-Benz models. However, if we go back, you have your lighting controls, ambient lighting. Let's see what this car has for ambient lighting. It's not quite on par with Mercedes-Benz, however you do get a nice choice of colors. We'll do Aurora Purple. And really not sure, it shows that where it comes from is kind of the door cards here, and I'm not sure if you guys can see that. It shows that it's in the door panels and stuff, but I know in most Mercedes-Benz models you can kind of see it during the day, but you do get a nice choice of colors, and the brightness is here. Looks like the brightness is down. We'll turn that up all the way. Now that the brightness is up, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it there. Maybe we can get the car to a nice dark place later so you guys can check out the ambient lighting. So headlight delay, go back again. Door, trunk, cluster. You can have the welcome sound come on or off. It was off, so we'll leave it on. Menu, actually, we'll go back. You just have a lot of settings in this car. Display settings, and I really like the way the menus kind of rotate. Turn display off there, press it again, it comes back on. If you go back, you can actually record a voice memo here, which is pretty cool. So voice memos are stored in this vehicle system until deleted. Oh, it looks like there's already a voice memo in here.
Hey there, this is the 2020 Genesis G90.
you should go and subscribe to Merkman's YouTube channel. Genesis Connected Services, so it's kind of like a vehicle diagnostics, and requires a subscription. It'll tell you your driving time, idle time, and all that. So we've been idling for about 11 minutes since the car's been running. If we go home, phone projection, HD data, media, navigation menu, and here are like kind of the main tabs, which are pretty cool. I like having that. And if you hit the radio here, you get all this. You can have your presets and what have you. You still get your trip info on the side. If you go home again, you can have your full navigation map here. I think, yeah, you can even control the, if you hit that, let's see where it takes you. Oh, so that, if you hit that area, you get a full screen here. And it's actually really responsive. And just overall nice navigation menu. Really just a great infotainment system. And if you don't want to kind of like hunch forward and use this constantly, you do have a scroll wheel here, kind of like a Mercedes-Benz models. So it's also very responsive. You can click on whatever you want, the navigation. You have a back button, home. So if you click on this, the climate control here. And of course it is a 4-zone climate control system. So you have 2 zones here, 2 in the back as part of the rear entertainment, the whole luxury package back there. You have heated and cooled seats for both the driver and passenger and the rear passengers. You have the rear shade control here, so if you look in the mirror, you can see the shade going down. It also goes down when you put the car in reverse and it comes back up. You have a heated steering wheel, pretty decent sized cup holders, a lot of storage. There's a wireless charging pad here. Now you just press that to activate it. USB charging port. See the center console. How do we open it here? Button here. Pretty decent center console. You have 2 12-volt outlets, 180 watt. Another little storage cubby. Pretty deep. Let's see the glove box here. Pretty decent sized glove box. And of course with the ultimate trim level, you have this Lexicon sound system here. You can see the laser cut speaker grills look great. Definitely sounds great. Don't want to get the video copyrighted, so we're not going to play any music, but it definitely is the top audio system for the Genesis G90. And as you can see, the word DVD is actually embossed into the leather here on the dashboard. I guess that's Genesis's way of letting us know there's a DVD player inside there. Pretty cool, and there's some other little buttons and stuff and hidden away. Never actually seen that before. That's pretty clever. As far as the climate controls, you have these basic metal buttons here. Auto, just really standard stuff, nothing crazy. You have a nice analog clock in the middle here. That's kind of an old-timey thing for luxury cars. I feel like they're starting to get away from that more. You have all your adaptive cruise controls here on the steering wheel. It is a fully leather-wrapped 4-spoke steering wheel, not flat bottom or anything, but it's very nice. The leather feels nice. You have the Genesis logo here. You have all your headlight controls, turn signals, and your automatic wiper controls here. Down on the side here, you have your kind of gas door opening. You have all your technology stuff. So you have blind spot monitoring system, which is on now. It was off for some reason. Lane keep assist, traction control, stuff like that. And the brightness for the interior lights. And you have your automatic telescoping steering wheel control here. And coming over to the electronic shifter, it is an 8-speed automatic transmission. You have park, reverse, neutral, and drive. I don't believe there is a manual mode. I think if we go drive, there's not an actual manual mode that I can see. I think you just have to use the paddles. And if you hold them to the right, it goes back to drive. You have your parking sensors or auto parking. You have auto hold, so if you press that, if you put it in drive and you have auto hold on, press down the brake pedal, it'll auto hold, pretty cool. If you hit the gas, it'll come off. You have your drive mode selector, which changes here, eco, custom, or your individual setting. Comfort, sport, and it actually reflects here, it changes the colors. So custom, comfort, sport. I mean, I've been leaving it on sport, to be honest. Not really sure what this little thing is. I think this is kind of like if you pull this off, you can get the car into neutral if you need, if it gets stuck or the battery dies. You have the big P button here, pretty cool. And being an electronic shifter, as you can see, I just pressed the park button. Doesn't matter where the shifter was. If we put it down into drive or if you put it in reverse, if you just press P, it'll automatically kind of go back. And you can probably hear the shade going back. And speaking of the shades, you have the controls here, similar to in the S-Class and Audi A8L and all that. If you do kind of like a half press, puts the shades down. Same for the other side. Pretty cool. Now, as I was saying earlier, there actually isn't a panoramic roof in this car. You do have a manual sunshade here, and it is technically a full-size sunroof, I would say, but not a panoramic sunroof. So, and up here you have your usual standard stuff, kind of a glasses holder, controls for the sunroof, reading lights which kind of fade on and off, LEDs. You have all the lights come on here. And here in the Alcantara headliner, you have the huge sun visors with a LED light that comes on. And you have the Genesis logo here embossed on the adjustable headrests. And as you can see, part of the ultimate trim level, you have these amazing quilted seats, very soft leather, and they're perforated for the heating and cooling functions. You have power thigh extenders. I'm not sure how many ways they're adjustable. I know it's definitely over 20 ways though. Very comfortable seats. You actually can control the seat here for the passenger. So you can move it forward, move it back with these two buttons. Pretty cool. So to activate the 360-degree camera system, we can just put it in neutral. And you can see here, you have a whole array of camera views. You can just use them to scroll here. You can use the touchscreen to touch the specific view you want, or you can just use the scroll wheel. So that's kind of the top-down view of the front camera. That's a head-on view. You have the side view here. You can actually see the wheels turning. You can adjust the brightness. Definitely leave the brightness up. You can do the contrast. The camera definitely looks better already. Okay. And you have your settings. So top view, default mode. You can really change what you want. So zoom in view, normal view, zoom out view, and stuff like that. We're going to leave it for now. We're going to go back. And I believe if you touch this, you actually have your driving data, so you don't have to have that other view of the camera. Although definitely want the full screen when it comes to the camera system. If we put it in reverse, you can see the active guidance lines. Well, for one, the mirrors just tilted down and kind of back. The rear sunshade went down, and now you have your active guidance lines both on the top-down view and the rear view. And you can actually control which rear view you want. So top-down rear view there with the zoomed-in view, or you have the sides. So it's really, really advanced camera system. The quality is great. You can actually see the rain falling in front of the camera. And if you put it into drive, it just goes back to the front. Mirrors go back. Really, really cool. And one thing that we're going to get a better look at when we're on the road is if we can just put the car in park for this. But so the vehicle does have active blind spot monitoring sensors here in the mirror. However, something I have not seen on any other vehicle that I've reviewed yet is if you put the turn signal on, we'll do the left one here, there's actually a perfect view of the left blind spot of the vehicle. And if you put on the right turn signal, the right side comes on. So this will be, car will do this at any speed as long as you have your signal on. You also get an audible warning if there's a vehicle in your blind spot and you have the signal on here, and you get to see what's actually there. So a lot of cars, it may show you that, you know, the light may come on indicating there's a vehicle there and to, you know, to be more careful. But this actually takes it a step further and shows you what is actually there. And when the vehicle goes away and you see it's safe to get over, you turn the signal off and the screen goes back to normal. So really cool feature. So right now we're going to hop into the back seat and check out all the cool technology and features. All right, it is raining, so we're going to hurry up. Go around to the passenger side. There's that lovely chime again. Step into the back here. All right, so with many modern luxury cars or luxury limousines like this one, the best seat in the house is really the right rear passenger seat. So here behind the front passenger seat, we actually use the controls here on the side, hit the front button there, and then we can actually move the front seat forward. So front is going forward, giving us lots of leg room. Even with the front seat all the way back, I had plenty of leg room. Seat is still going forward. We can actually move the backrest forward here for even more room. Wow, how far is it going to fall? Okay, so that's as far as it goes. And this screen, I'm not sure if they're manual or Usually they tilt, they kind of, in the other cars, in the German competitors, the screen will kind of tilt towards the passenger as the seat is folding forward. Not sure if that's the case here. No, let's just bring back the front seat. I really can't see it right now. So we do power R here. The switch is on. And I believe it's touchscreen, just like the front. Nope, doesn't look like it. So using the scroll wheel here. So right now we have control over the right screen here. You have navigation, you have your back button. Everything, it's kind of like a more simplified version of what's in the front. You have your seat track, volume buttons, you have home, you have your different little apps here. Pretty cool. Climate, you can do vehicle setup. You can enter a address into the navigation and it'll appear at the front screen there for the driver to see it. Really the same settings you had as far as vehicle settings goes in the front, and any customization. Now in the back, you have your dual zone climate control there. You actually have another two 12 volt 180 watt charging ports there. You actually have cooled and heated seats, so definitely put the cool ones on. RSE locked, I'm not sure what that means. You have your rear shade controls here. And of course you have your controls for your sunshades on both the driver and the passenger side. And it's pretty cool, you actually have a little shade for the quarter window there. And again, you have the Genesis logo embossed on the headrest here. And these are actually controllable. The headrests are actually controllable. Move them up, down, left and right. And actually this whole center console here, you have storage here, actually a pretty deep center console, more charging ports. And see if I can figure out how to open this. You actually have a pass-through to the trunk there. Pretty cool. And if you don't want this whole central tunnel here and you need the extra seat, you can fold this whole thing up and it becomes a seat. So, but part of the whole package back here with the luxury experience is you do want that, so fold it forward here. You actually have a better view of your seat controls. So you have your lumbar, full power adjustability. Not sure what this does here. Looks like it puts the headrest down, maybe. That's what it just did. Looks like it puts everything back. So there's actually a rest button here that we're going to demonstrate what that does now. So pressing the rest button or holding it, it'll put the front seat into the furthest position. And right now I'm currently reclining. I'm reclining actually a lot. Really lounging back here. Really comfortable back here. You have those Lexicon laser cut speaker grills here. You have more memory settings. You actually have, instead of the smart button up there for the memory settings, you actually have something called door. So it was off now, or it was on, now we're going to turn it back on. And basically opening the door, there is a rear easy exit and easy entry. So we're going to hop out real quick now that it stopped raining. So we're going to move the seat all the way forward. And close the door. Soft close, of course, in the rear. Now when we open the door, we're going to have the easy entry. The rear seat kind of goes back. You can see here the certification for the seats. They're very comfortable seats, good for your spine, all that. You actually have more of that open pore wood here on the door panels, full nap of leather. More of it on the side here on the central tunnel. You have another Genesis logo embossed in the armrest here. Your AC controls, and as you can see, plenty of legroom. There's no shortage of legroom in this car. It is a long wheelbase vehicle. You have the Genesis logo there on the sill plate. Okay, so I found out the screen actually manually tilts. It's not power like in some other vehicles. So if you want to put the seat all the way up, go the forward here, put the backrest all the way forward. I guess you would do this before tilting it, but in this case, I'm just going to reach forward, tilt it, and you can see the screen perfectly. You can see that one. I'm reclined all the way back. I have plenty of space to stretch out. Really, really nice back here. As far as the luxury amenities goes, you have a little bit more control back here. as far as the seat settings, but about the same amount of options when it comes to controlling the infotainment. So via these two screens, and you can control both sides, and basically the same amount of luxury amenities, creature comforts, and what have you that you get in the front from the driver's seat and the passenger seat, you also get back here. Now that's not the case in a lot of cars, but it is pretty cool that there's that level of controllability back here. And I couldn't be more comfortable, and it's definitely a nice place to spend in the rain, because it is pouring right now. Of course, you have the leather grab bars back here, LED reading lights, really nice. They fade on and off, just like in the S-Class. These are leather wrapped. All right, so now we're gonna go get the G90 out on the road and see what it's like to drive. Okay, so right now we're in the 2020 Genesis G90 Ultimate. It's pretty rainy outside. We're in the rear-wheel drive variant, but this is such a heavy vehicle with very superior traction control. Plus, we're not gonna really be driving it hard in the rain. This is really just about finding out what the Genesis G90 is like to drive from a luxury car standpoint, not so much a sports car. So right now we've just got it driving around some neighborhood streets here. We're gonna get out on the road in a little bit. I've got the automatic wipers on, automatic LED headlights are on, have it in comfort mode. So we're taking around a roundabout here. And while it does feel like a very big car, there's a lot of car behind me, it's not hard to drive. The steering, especially when in comfort, is extremely light. I'm not positive if the car has air suspension or just coil and spring, but it rides really well. It's very supple, compliant, like a luxury car should be. That speed bump I just went over, I barely felt it. Right now my seating position is just what I set, although as I was showing you guys earlier, you can actually have the car choose for you what it thinks the best seating position for you is, depending on your body type. Just taking around some corners here. Actually, I want to pop it down into sport mode. So I actually felt the bolsters on the seats just tighten up a little bit, the air bladders. They're not active like in a lot of Mercedes-Benz models, however they do help to keep you in place. The BMW 7 Series does that too, because it doesn't have active bolstering either. However, in sport mode or sport plus or whatever, the bolsters will actually kind of move in a little bit to hug you. Right away I noticed that the throttle response has sharpened up a lot. The steering's a little bit tighter, nothing too crazy like you get in the S-Class or the Audis and stuff. Right now I'm kind of squeezing between a bucket truck and a mailbox, and once again the car is showing its size, but with the array of sensors and cameras and everything, I'm really not worried. I'm used to driving big vehicles myself. However, if this is your first large vehicle, it is a full-size luxury vehicle. It's long wheelbase. You have the seats that recline in back and the chauffeur mode setting. It is a very big vehicle, but here in South Florida, it's really not that bad. There's plenty of wide streets for you to go down. I'm trying to find a road to get here. I'm just gonna use the nav. You can actually go full screen like I am right now. And select go left. Here we go. Now earlier when I was talking about the camera system in this car, if you actually use the turn signals, I'm going to show you guys in a second. So here's the right turn signal. It'll actually show us the blind spots of the right side of the vehicle. And this will just stay on until you turn off the turn signal, which is a pretty cool feature, and it's nice to have because even though the mirrors are big and they do adjust, they're automatic, and you do have the blind spot sensor, it's just sometimes it's nice to know it's actually in your blind spot. You don't want to just be told there's something there, you actually want to see what's there. So now the turn signal's off, the screen goes back to normal. We have the digital speedometer right now. And this steering wheel is very, very comfortable. It's soft, Napa leather. It's not it's kind of thick leather for a steering wheel, but it feels good in the hands. Honestly, this engine, the whole time it was running when I was doing the interior portion of the review, I couldn't hear the engine running. And it's a V8, I mean, it's 5-liter, naturally aspirated. See, now that we have the kind of a blind spot here, you know there's nothing on the left, so it's safe to get over. Where a lot of cars, the blind spot monitoring system will only activate above a certain speed. In this car, you can put the signal on even in park and you can see what's in the blind spot. So putting signal on again to get over. You see it's safe to get over. It'll show you basically what's behind you and kind of in the immediate blind spot. So right around the B pillar of the car, C pillar. And like I was saying, as long as you leave the turn signal on, you can see it. But back to the engine. So it is incredibly smooth. Right now, can't even feel it running. The transmission's an 8-speed automatic torque converter. You can't feel that shifting either. Even in sport mode, it's very smooth. Suspension is nice and supple. It does take corners okay for a large sedan. You know, I I want to say the suspension stiffened up a tiny bit. I can kind of feel some more bumps in the road, although we just might be on a road with more bumps or potholes. But see if we step on it here. It wasn't really a big pull or anything, but the power is nice. It's 420 horsepower. It's naturally aspirated, so it's on demand like that, the snap of a finger. I really don't know how many times I can say this car drives smooth and it's a joy to drive. Actually, the active lane keep assist is actively keeping me in the lane. I can feel it kind of influencing my hands here. Even though the cruise control is not on, I can feel the lane keep assist, which is actually pretty cool. I feel like sometimes it could get a little annoying, although it's nice to have something have your back and kind of guide you and keep you in the lane. And of course, using the turn signal, you have the screen that comes on there. And the second the signal comes off, the screen goes back to normal. Brakes are pretty nice for a full-size sedan like this. This vehicle is over 4,500 pounds. There are no performance brakes or any kind of carbon ceramics like you get on some AMG models. However, they do the trick. The car is rear-wheel drive, so the front end does feel a little bit more controllable than an all-wheel drive car would be. I'm not sure if there is an all-wheel drive variant of this car, although I'm sure there is. And like I was saying before, just the overall quality of the interior, the fit and finish, the build quality, everything's solid. There's no rattles in here. These seats are really comfortable. And I would be interested in putting all my body information and weight and height and all that and pants inseam to see what the car comes up with, to see if it creates a more comfortable seat position than I have set for myself. So that would be interesting to figure out. But right now we're just sitting in traffic. I have auto hold on, where the car will hold itself in drive. It'll hold the brake, and the tap of the gas, it turns off and you roll forward. Acceleration is effortless. I've rarely had to use more than 50% throttle input on this car so far. Plenty of low down torque. Being naturally aspirated, all the power is always there. You don't have to wait for any superchargers or turbochargers to go build up the power, spool up or whatever. And honestly, if I didn't know any better, I would think this is an electric car. I cannot hear an engine at all. And when you do step on it, sure, you can hear the engine, especially with the enhanced engine sound option that I checked in the infotainment system earlier. However, now that we're off the gas, cruising at about 50 miles an hour, just over 2,000 RPM, can't hear anything. The loudest thing in here is probably the tires and the air-conditioned seats. This really is just a joy of a car to drive. And if you don't care about name brands, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, Jaguar, this Genesis G90 is a luxury car through and through, and is a welcome addition to the luxury car segment here in the United States. Not much else I can really say about this car other than it is really a spectacular car and definitely a bargain. At about $78,000 is what the dealership currently has it for. We have the window sticker on the back window here. That is like $25,000 less than a base model S-Class. So even though the S-Class may come with more standard features, this technically is just one trim level, has everything standard, just like the S-Class has. I have everything you could possibly want. I don't think there are massage seats. I really didn't go that in depth into the infotainment menu. It could be an option, although maybe the car just doesn't have it, don't know. But either way, that's not a deal breaker when it comes to a car like this. The interior is amazing, drives amazing. This would be great for a daily driver. The 5-liter V8 really doesn't get the worst gas mileage in the world if you don't have a heavy foot. And really, not much else I can say. Awesome car. All right, guys. Well, that should do it for this review of the 2020 Genesis G90 Ultimate. Once again, I just want to thank my friend Sonny at Rick Case Hyundai in Plantation, Florida, for allowing me to review the Genesis G90. See you next time, guys.